a 24-hour, 7 days a week. We focus on topics of building, strengthening, and inspiring, as well as motivating men, women, you from the home to the conference room to all around our community. I am your host, the nurseologist, and you are here at the Nurses Lounge where nurses call the shots. We want to thank you for tuning into the show today. We invite you to be a part of the show if you like to, too. And the phone number is 443-272-5922. Join us on www.shestheBossRadio.com. That's where I need all you guys to go today. And my show is every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also listen to my show by going to Siri or Alexa and say, play She's the Boss Radio or Shoutcast. Follow us on Facebook at She's the Boss Radio, Twitter, She's the Boss Radio, IG, WSTBRN, Twitch, and Tumblr, WSTBR. Yes, guys, we're going to be talking about some wonderful things. Today, we're going to be talking about friendship. We're going to be talking about how we can pay it forward. We also going to be talking a little bit about voting. As you all know, you still have up until the 8th, November the 8th, which is Tuesday, to cast your ballots for your best. For your best candidates. Let me tell you, Maryland has a tight race running. I am here to tell you, let's get our votes out. And yes, we can all say that this is the day that we get to share our views, we get to do what we need to do, and we get to invite our friends to do the same. And that is so marvelous when you can invite your friends to be a part of making that decision that we all love and need. So let's just get down to business. So for today, I want to let you guys know that I feel great. What does that mean when you hear somebody say, I feel great? Now, a lot of people use that word in several different terms, but me feeling great means that right now, in the time of day it is, I feel like I am accomplishing a lot more. I am focusing on one thing and one topic at a time. I'm not jumping all over the place anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, we all have a story. We all have that time where we are depressed. We have that time where we don't want to be bothered with people. We have that time where we're going through a lot in our lives as we're growing that we don't need a whole bunch of extraness. Sometimes I had to learn the hard way because I'm the type of person that loves to talk. And I'm going to say it, getting other people's business. But now that I'm getting old, I don't even have the strength to get in anybody's business, let alone try to handle my own. And that's what I mean about me being great. It don't take a lot to being great, but it takes a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of sitting back and observing instead of always responding. If folks don't ask for your opinion, it's best to keep your opinions to yourself. And that's what I'm saying now, because I got to the point where, I felt like everybody was dependent on me when really it was the other way around. I was dependent on them. And when you think of somebody being dependent on someone else, but it feels like, you're just there for everyone. No, that's not what it is. It was because I was in a deep, dark place and I needed to feel wanted. So in the effort of me wanting to feel wanted, I was like helping and doing for other people. And now I have learned to sit back. I've learned to do affirmations. I've learned to meditate. I learned to do some self-care. self-care. That was one thing I believe that I had been missing. And now I'm ready to pick up those pieces with self-care and doing for me. I think right now the best time for me is now. This is my season. If you know that song. Yes, this is my season. And I'm going to read you guys a couple of little scriptures right now, or a couple of little affirmations. I just want to go on more adventures, be around good energy, and connect with people learning new things. That means that I want to grow. I am at the age now in a position in my career where I feel like right now it's time for me to exhale. And when I say that I'm exhaling, I'm saying that I am taking charge of my life. I am no longer going to try to cover up things that I need to face forward. I'm going to work those issues out and then I'm going to move on. That's the best way to get people to understand where you're coming from, what you're doing. And it's just so amazing. I'm telling you, when you sit back and you ask God, it's a thing when you sit back and you just want to do. But when you sit back and you give all your thanks to God, I am here to tell you, girl, amazing girls and guys, amazing things will happen when you just get out of your own way. And that's what it's called. Charlene, nurseologist, get out of your own way. That is what this season is for me. This season is for me to do better, to have better, to focus on ideas that's going to get me further and be all right with it. It's not hard trying to move forward in your career and in your life. But what I've found hard is that I don't know how to slow down. I don't know how to just focus on what I should be focusing on. So now that I am getting into myself and I am getting into self-care, I'm getting into doing things, getting into slowing up, focus on one task, complete that task, and then move on to the next task. And that's what is so important. Makala Chung says, that's the thing about introverts. We wear our chaos on the inside where no one can see it. That is something that I do. I wear a lot of different hats. Even though I'm a mother of none, I am a mother to many. I try to be positive. I try not to put any ill will on anyone. I pray that everyone go forth and live their life to the fullest. Here's another quote by an unknown person. One life on this earth is all we get. Whether it is enough or not enough. And the obvious conclusion would be that at the very least, we are fools if we do not live it to the fullest, be bravely and beautiful as we can. And you know what? That is a beautiful statement. That we need to live fully, that we need to be brave while we're living our lives. And most of all, beautiful. That's a part of my affirmation every day. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am courageous. I am bold. It's something when somebody say they bold, and people think of bold as in being a bully. People think it's bold as being confident. And that's what I'm bold in, being confident. I'm bold in being willing to give people an opportunity. And that's what we have to think about. We have to think about the opportunity that we have to give to others so that they will know how to pay that forward. That will be my next topic of today. After our second commercial break, I'm going to talk to you guys about paying it forward. What's the definition of paying it forward? how you can pay it forward, and then giving you some nice quotes on how you can pay it forward, and how the more you pay forward, the more you get back in return. Most people look for being paid back and forward by getting monetary back. But the greatest gift is by getting enriched, by being resilient, by being bold, by being beautiful, by not letting anything come in between you, your career, and your finances, and most of all, your family. These are things that we take for granted, but these are things that we need to sit back, we need to think about, we need to let other people know what we're physically thinking. We need to let other people know that we are thinking about them. We need to let people know that, there is no easy way out of anything. Some people can talk their way out of anything, but at the end of the day, believe it or not, they're talking themselves deeper into something. So that is the important thing that I want you guys to think about today is, have you talked yourself into something lately and got yourself caught up in the middle of a dispute, caught up in the middle of disagreements? It's so great when you can be great. And it is so beautiful when you can help others who are searching for the same thing that you're searching for but can't find it. And that is where I'm going to leave you guys for a moment until I come back and let you guys know a little bit more about paying it forward, a little bit more about being great, a little bit more about being bold, a little bit more about being resilient. I'm just here to tell you that today I am on fire. And I want you guys to know that I am here to work it out with you. I am here to show you who I am, because I am the nurseologist that's bringing this word to you today. So be calm, be cool. Go get you a little sip. Go get your coffee cups. Go get your sodas. Go get a glass or a cup of water and come right back after this commercial. See you guys soon. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Nurses Lounge where the nurses call the shots. I am your host, the nurseologist, and I am here today to continue to give you the word, the word. Yes, good afternoon, and welcome to the Nurses Lounge where nurses call the shots. I am your host, the nurseologist, and I am here to tell you guys all about being great. I'm here to tell you guys all about how you can pay it forward in your community and to people who need a helping hand. And even if you have to surprise somebody on any given day, just be calm, cool, collected, and before you decide to pay it forward to somebody, please give them the opportunity to accept what you would love for them to have. So today I am doing an event later today that is going to be so beautiful, and a group of ladies, young ladies between the ages of 13 and 18, they're really going to get some good information today, and I am going to give it all to them, but I need for them to focus on themselves. It's nothing like giving young women the opportunity to speak with a healthcare provider outside of a healthcare system so that if they have any questions that you can address to help them, it would be very, very wonderful. So earlier in this episode, I talked about certain quotes about being great. And I'm going to touch upon it a little bit right now. Being great at what you do and being great out in your community is so wonderful. Things that we can do and our lessons can always help someone else. And that's what I want people to think of, going out in their communities, working with community leaders, helping people in a community become a little more efficient. Those are things that are important to people. Most people think that everyone feel the same and want to go out in the community and do the same, but that's not always true. Sometimes you have to sit back and you have to reflect. You have to reflect on friendship. People take friendship for granted. I have friends that I've been friends with since elementary school, and I still communicate with them, and they communicate with me. And that's what I'm talking about, a long term relationship with someone. Even if you get mad with each other, you should still think about those special moments that you shared with that person and always try to mend that relationship. Mending relationships and friendships that have gone bad, as long as you do your part to mend that relationship, you've done all that you can do, because the other person on the other side have to be willing to accept that friendship. And that's what's important. So friendship is a relationship of mutual affection between people. It is a strong form of interpersonal bonds than an acquaintance or an associate, such as a classmate, a neighbor, a coworker, a college friend. You have to sit back and you have to know what you're looking for in a friendship. And that is what is so deep. Some people look towards a relationship as being sexual. It's not always sexual. Having the same mutual friends, the same career goals, those are the important things we should be thinking about before you even think about a relationship with someone. You should try to form a friendship, because when you form that bond, you really get to know that person, because they say that many people could be friends, many people can have relationships with other people, but sometimes good friends or best friends, there are two different definitions for that. A good friend is a person who you call when you need them. A best friend is a person that you share mutual business partners, people who you share the same mutual what you call them, the same mutual issues, you know, maybe healthcare wise, or maybe just a career choice. You both share that career choice together, you know. So it's so much and so much that we can do when we're building relationships. Building relationships are sometimes hard because the other person don't want to give in. So they say, although there are many forms of friendships, and some of which may vary from place to place, certain characteristics are present in many bonds that you make with people. Um, one person may choose a different person over that person. So, we got to get into now being very positive and supportive of each other, especially women. Women, a best friend of yours who know a lot about your life can really tear you down and break you down. They can take you from 10 to 0 in 1 minute, sometimes less. So what you have to do is you have to sit back and try to process what they're saying and not listen to what they're saying. Because sometimes we're quick to react. And when some people, I call it acting ugly or acting out, you could either join in or you can make it better. We have to figure out what choices we have at the moment. We have to figure out what are we doing to make this better. We have to figure out, how can we as females love each other, support each other. It's nothing like being a friend, but it's something about having a relationship with that friend. And in my daily life, and I've had many friends, but what I can say, I don't have many friends that used to be my friends that are not my friends now. Because the first thing that I do is, if I have a problem with somebody, I apologize. It takes a great heart. It takes a lot out of a person. It takes a special person to accept that. It takes a special person to go to that person and voice how they feel or what was going on during the time when they felt that way. And, that is what is so important about how we should start to move this day and age. We should be supporting our sisters, supporting our brothers, supporting our kids. We haven't made great decisions ourselves, and we should not be down in somebody else, because we all have skeletons in our closet, whether it be a skeleton with no skeleton without any skin and just the bones, or are we that skeleton, or are we that model, that role model? How about that? Maybe we can be that role model for our youth of today, to learn not only to respect themselves but to respect other people as well. Sometimes friends are distinguished from families, as into saying friends and families. Sometimes for people who are lovers, they have to distinguish between lovers and friends, although there's a thin line when it's blurred with friends with benefits. In the friend zone. Have you heard people talk about that before when they say, "Oh, um, we're in the friend zone"? What does that mean? A lot of people talk about who's their friends, but I never hear anybody talk about the friend zone. That is a new term for me, but I'm quite sure it's a lot of younger people out here who really, think about that. Like, what do you consider a friend zone? Okay, let's talk about the terminology of that. So, the terminology of friend zone is, it is described as a situation in which friendship exists between two people, and one of whom has an unreciprocal romantic or sexual interest in the other. Okay, I could take that. Although the term apparently gender neutral, A friend zone is often described as a situation between a male and a female relationship in which the male is in the friend zone. So, when you hear these terms, sometimes don't feel embarrassed as an adult to go and research what that means. So, when kids use certain terms, I try to jot those terms down and try to remember what they're talking about. And if I don't know, guess what? The best thing to do is to ask questions, and they will fill you in. That's one thing that I can say about young people, that they are great at filling you in with what you need to know if you ask them correctly. Just open the table one day, sit down, and let them know you want to have an open conversation. And when you have that open conversation, I'm telling you, be calm, cool, and collective, because some of what they're going to tell you is really going to rub you the wrong way. But at least you know what they're doing, you know how they feel about the conversation, and maybe you could change their trajectory depending on what the conversation is about. So just be mindful that kids nowadays, they have an opinion, that we might not accept. But sometimes when you sit back and you figure out what they're talking about, it really makes sense. So take a stab at this. Who is your true friend? That's the question of the day. I'm going to post this on my Facebook page too. I'm going to post, who is your true friend? My true friend, and my first true friend, is God. God has brought me a mighty long way. God has put upon me a lot of different challenges. Some of the challenges that He's placed me in, I am and have shared, in books. I have shared with people who are close to me, because sometimes sharing that moment when you're unsure about yourself really helps not only you, but it also helps the person who's listening. And the other thing that I've learned is that having a listening ear for your friend is the very best thing that you can do. So listen to this quote. This is by an unknown author. A good friend listens. Check that word out, listens. Listens to your adventures. A best friend makes them with you. So just keep that in mind. A good friend listens to your adventures. A best friend makes them with you. And that's when I was talking earlier about that. So right now we're ready to go on a commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about paying it forward. I'm going to talk about voting. And then we're going to end the show for this week. Yay. So stay tuned, guys. And I hope you got your cup of coffee, your drinks or whatever. And see you in a few moments. Radio Show. I am your host, the nursologist, and I am here to wrap this show up in no time for you guys. So let's talk a little bit about being great. Yes, I am working on being great. I'm working on doing self care, and I'm working on minding my own business. You know, a lot of people told me when I was little, mind my own business. I ain't listened to them until I got over my 50s. And now I just want to mind my business. It's such a lovely thing. And I think all my friends and family going to be so happy to know that I'm minding my own business. So let's talk about this friendship. Friendship. What would we do without our friends? I tell you. You know that song that say friends? How many of us have them? Let's be friends. That's what I'm talking about. True friends aren't the ones who make your problems disappear. You know, that's what people think. True friends make your problem disappear. They are the ones who won't disappear when you're facing problems. So, see, that's a true friend. Peace. Or as my niece and them say it, purr. I don't know what that means, but hey, and I'm using it. So, get over it. Um, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about and wrap up is the friend zone. Talk to your kids about the friend zone. That is something that's important and that we need to talk to kids about to be sure they understand what being in the friend zone mean, and what better way to learn what a friend zone is from your parents. You don't go out in the community and learn what a friend zone is. You learn that with your close friend or the person who you depend on. Affirmations: I am beautiful. I am resilient. I am who I am. You know, those are all important things. So for me, what I want to wrap this show up with is I want to wrap this show up with talking about voting. You still have more days to vote, 3 to be exact. The voting polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can walk into these voter sites on Tuesday. You have to go to your district voting site. You can register to vote at the polls. I need for everybody to vote. I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, my vote don't count. I'm not voting. If you don't want to exercise your right that your ancestors made possible for you, then don't complain when these politicians get in office and aren't doing what you think they should be doing. So get out and vote. Get out and vote. So the other thing I want to talk about today that has me in uproar today, it would be about paying it forward. Paying it forward is an expression for describing the beneficiary of a good deed, repaying a kindness to others instead of the original benefactor. So, paying it forward without a free compliment. You know, just do something out of the ordinary. You know, one day I was in a line to get my coffee and my breakfast in the morning, and I was going to hand the lady at Dunkin' Donuts my card to pay for my food. So she said, oh, your food is free. And I was like, Miss, I haven't paid you. She said, oh no, the car who just left, they paid for your meal. Whatever it was that you was paying for, they paid for it. I was like, what? I was like, wow. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, why would somebody pay for my breakfast? You know, that person had it on their heart to do a great deed for somebody that day, and they paid it forward to me. So, you know, today was the day for me to pay it forward. So, I'm doing an event this afternoon with my cousin, Benin. Yes, I'm doing an event with her that's called Womanish. She is going to educate a group of young ladies between the ages of 13 and 18. And she's going to give them some insight about self care, being resilient, um, about manners, you know, and etiquette. Those are things that we need to start teaching not only our young women, but teach our young men as well. So I'm paying it forward today to give some young ladies some information. We're going to talk a little bit about toxic shock syndrome. I have a couple of games for them to play, and I'm also going to get them to do a board for me so that I can remember them at this event. Because when we do events, we don't always want to remember the people there. But for me, I want to remember the youth that I have been giving them some of my nuggets and some of my blessings that I have been through. So today, while I was in the store purchasing a couple of items for this event today, it was this older lady that was in the line. And I was just all over the place in that store. I didn't know what I wanted to buy. I got out of line. I came back. I was in one line. I said, "No, let me go here to the other line." So as I was moving, this older lady kept moving in the line that I was moving in. And you know what? It was upon my heart to pay it forward to her. I asked for her permission first if I could pay for what she was purchasing. First, she said, oh no, baby, I got it. I said, "You know what, ma'am? Today is the day that I pay it forward, and I would love to pay your bill." I paid her bill, and you know what? I felt a sigh of relief, because going into an event with a 35 to 40 young ladies to talk is scary for me. Yeah, mouth almighty, yes. It's a little scary for me, but I figured this way: if I pay it forward, then God will give me the strength. He's going to give me the power, and He's going to give me everything I need to make sure that these young ladies go back out in their community, be very respectful, be resilient, and most of all, have self respect for themselves. That's what it's all about now. We can no longer keep our mouths shut. We have to go out in the community to give our young people what they really need, whether it be carry out a random act of kindness, or whether we reward them for positive behavior. People are so quick to say things when you do things wrong, but who's quick enough to leap forward and thank you for the goodness that you do? Positive reinforcement is what I believe our young kids need. Now, I'm not talking about race, gender. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about our young people, period. What our generation needs to know is these young kids are our future. And when we can no longer carry on with our careers and our daily lives, these are going to be the people that's going to be there to help us. So, what we need to do is pour into them. We need to give them the respect so that they'll know how to respect themselves. That is what's so important to me this day and age, is to make sure that I teach one. All I need to do is teach one kid. I don't have to teach a village. I don't have to teach a continent. If I just touch one kid every day of my life, I am blessed. You know that song, I am blessed? I am blessed. That's what I'm talking about. I am blessed and I am highly favored. And I am sitting back waiting on God to propel me in my life to do great things, because I could feel, how you can feel that something's great is coming? That is the way I feel. There is a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but the but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. Mm, just imagine tears, you know, and if you ever tasted tears, it's salty. So there is a distinct um taste to your tears. They are the messengers of overwhelmed grief, of deep concentration, and of the unspeakable love, you know, the unspeakable love for life. I just tell you, when I just sit back and I think about all of the experience I have and the opportunity that I have been given to speak upon some young adults, to let them know how to respect themselves, how to respect others, and share my experience. That's what I'm here to do, is to share my experience. I'm not here to tell them what to do, but if I share one experience, then they can take that one experience of what I did and make theirs much better and have that thought to think about it. I want you guys to think about the friend zone. I want you guys to talk to your kids about the friend zone and see what they come up with. You got to be honest, you got to be open and let them talk about the friend zone. So, this is the Nurses Lounge, the Nurseologist, the Nurses Lounge radio show signing out this weekend. Come back next week. And matter of fact, come back at 1 o'clock next week so you can hear the show before my show, which is Sharon's Neighborhood. You got to hear that show. So come back next week and sit back from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and listen to both shows. How about that? Yes, www.shesthebossradio.com. That's where you guys should be. Instead of Facebook and Instagram watching me, you guys should be over there on internet radio experiencing the Nurses Lounge on She's the Boss Radio Network. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think?